As a second-generation Vietnamese Cambodian American and a child of war survivors, there are gaps in my knowledge and understanding of my ancestral roots. Somehow, much of the art, the culture, the history never reached me. So this is my way of learning, growing, and healing through community. Well, I am excited. Today I am here with Pida.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
And I was going to pronounce your last name, Kongphouthone.
That's really good. Yeah, Pida Kongphouthone.
And I actually got connected to Pida through Devon, she owns, it's Lao Sriracha?
Yes.
Lao Sriracha.
Yes.
So I'm going to tag her in here. She just launched her product officially in March.
Amazing.
So, yes, yeah. It is so good. So shout out to Devon for this connection here. Check out her Lao Sriracha. It's so good.
Lao spicy sriracha, love it.
Yes.
I have it at home.
Yes.
She was kind enough to send me some. It's amazing.
And the reason why I wanted to have this interview with you is because when we first connected, you had hit on some really important topics. First and foremost, he is a community organizer. He owns his own real estate brokerage.
Yes.
And he's super involved in the community, and so we'll dive into more about the work and the impact that he has had in the community. Is there anything that you want to share?
Oh no, just Sabaidi, everyone. That's hello or greetings in Lao, and I'm really excited to be here. Alcina is awesome. She's just I appreciate her for just spreading her good energy and her insight around the community. So just want to congratulate Alcina for just all the great work that she's doing, and I just want to say hello to everybody, sending blessings and greetings to everyone.
Thank you. Yes, and yes, your energy, that too. Your energy. I feel like I can sit here, and I feel like we can sit here for hours and talk about a lot of different topics. But definitely for me today, I would love to learn from you. As someone who has Vietnamese and Khmer roots, I know about the Vietnam War. I know about the Cambodian genocide. But when I connected with Pida, that was the first time that I heard about the secret war. And that was only a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
I'm 31. By the way, for me to hear about this, the secret war for the first time, it feels we have to talk about this. If I am someone who went to college, well educated, I would say, and still this is my first time hearing about the secret war, we have to talk.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's heavy. I think it's a topic that definitely needs to be shared and discussed. The secret war, what really got me introduced initially myself as a Lao American, really a 1.5 generation. I arrived in the United States when I was 3 years old. I was born in the refugee camps. And the thing is, I didn't have access to information. And probably about 15 years ago, I was introduced to this amazing group, Legacies of War, with General Pida Kongphouthone. And they were doing a lot of work regarding the secret war and bringing it to light. So really, for those that don't know, the secret war, it does tie into the Vietnam War era. That time frame is that Laos per capita is one of the most heavily bombed country in the history of mankind. Yeah. So now the reason for that is because obviously the U.S. had a secret bombing mission with CIA for the Vietnam War. And a lot of it was covert, it was undercover, and the public wasn't aware of that. And up until probably like 10 years ago, it was brought to the surface thanks to the great work of the Legacies of War, other similar organizations, Center for Lao Studies. That's where I started learning more, and it opened my eyes, it opened my mind, and I felt like, wow, this is the history of my community, this is the history of my people, of folks from Southeast Asia. So that opened up a whole new portal in my mind, and that brought me to like a whole new world, and that helped me start my nonprofit journey and my community organizing journey.
The organization that you mentioned, can you repeat the name of the org?
Yeah.
Legacies of War. And are they California based?
They're based in DC.
Okay.
Yeah, so go check them out, Legacies of War. They're an amazing group. Donate to them. I'm also one of their supporters as well. Go check them out. You're going to learn a lot from them. They're one of the leading authorities on the secret war and the mission in Laos, removing bombs in Laos and bringing awareness and attention to this particular area.
So first question is, what was the secret war?
Yeah, so well, you starting off with the heavy stuff, Elsie.
I mean, it's not much. Just the first of all, I deliberately chose not to Google this because I was like, I want to know. I want to hear from me. Okay. Is it disrespectful to call you the elder? Like
no, that's fine.
I'm unless there's something else you wanted to touch.
No. I'm just it's important that we talk about it because it's in its essence, it's the reason why many Lao Americans are here because of the secret war. And a lot of it's not covered in the history books yet of that Laos's involvement in the Vietnam War era. Right, and Laos was used as more or less as a pawn within that whole time frame. And besides, the reason why there was that bombing was the United States decided that they needed to bomb the Ho Chi Minh Trail to prevent the spread of communism. And there were some geopolitical issues involved in there, but more or less a civil war happened in the context of within the Vietnam War. And that's what started the whole domino effect of not only being involved in the Vietnam War, but then also the U.S. being involved also as well. It's a lot.
Okay. So we're going to break this down.
Yeah.
So how exactly did Laos become involved? Or when you say pawn, what did that look like?
So during that whole time frame, I think a lot of the history is that the United States was really concerned about the spread of communism in Southeast Asia, right? They feel that if Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia fell to communism, that would be like a domino effect throughout that region. So that, from the bombings from the late 50s to the early 60s, even till like the 70s, that's how, and Laos is right in the middle of Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
So not only is it landlocked, but you could say it's land linked in a sense where it's right in the middle. So strategically, it's an important area. And the United States was, what they did was they recruited a lot of guerrillas in Laos. It could be the Hmong tribe, the Mien tribes, a lot of the Lao ethnic tribes, the Khmer, all the many tribes there in Laos to recruit them to fight for the CIA. So it was like a large CIA mission, and one of the largest, if not the largest, started in Laos. So that's the heart of it.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's the heart of it.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah, it's just so as you can tell, it's such an emotional topic, even when I talk about it now. It's not the first time that I've discussed it, but for the younger folks that haven't had the opportunity to just kind of get to dig in a little bit more, you really should. It serves as a reason why we're here. So for those that are not Lao, maybe that are not Southeast Asian, if you'd like to find out why many Southeast Asians are here, definitely go check out the Secret War in Laos. Go check out the Vietnam War era, and not just from the surface level, but really dig in on what happened there, on why we're here.
So I understand the Lao civilians being turned into guerrillas and being used as soldiers to fight for the U.S. What was the Civil War? What was the division?
Yeah, so the Civil War, it came down to, there were many factions in Laos. At the time, Laos became although Laos eventually received its independence from being a French colony, the communist side of the Lao people, or the Lao government at the time, which was the Royal Kingdom of Laos. They wanted to there was a sense of nationalism in a sense where they wanted to expel the country of foreigners, of foreign rule. So just like any other communist ideology, they wanted to make sure that there wasn't external influences within the country. So that's what really started. But there were many factions within Laos that had a different idea of where the future of the country should hold. But Laos in itself, I mean, it's pretty complicated in the sense that not only were we a French colony during that time, we were colonized by Thailand, we were colonized by other groups also as well. So that's what led to a lot of, I believe, the communism ideology, which is that they didn't want all this foreign influence involved.
Wow. What's interesting to me is you mentioned 15 years ago, you learned about this information that opened up the portal.
Yeah.
Where were the gaps? Why Why so much later?
I think it's still not. So one of the reasons why, like a while back, we worked closely to introduce like a bill to get Lao history included in K through 12, because Laos is not more or less in the Vietnam War era history in the educational aspect. We're not included. All right, we're not included. It's overlooked because of the secret war. There just wasn't a lot of information that was available. And myself, even when I went to college, there wasn't a lot of information available. And I think that for a lot of the nonprofit groups and other groups that were bringing this attention to light, and that's the reason why, because there wasn't a lot of information. So now myself, other people that are my generation and the ones that came before us, like the Legacies of War, Center for Laos Studies, they did a lot of due diligence in bringing this information to my generation and the younger generation. And that's what opened up our mindset and our eyes on why we're here. And that really helped start a journey and a process of self-identity, of self-discovery, of why we're here. And I'll be honest, growing up, just like every other kid, our parents would be like, hey, we walked 1,000,000 miles to school, with no shoes. We did this, we did that. Our parents would be like, hey, I came to the United States so you can have a better opportunities, you can have a better life. And of course, I was like, yeah, whatever. Even my dad, my parents were like, hey, when I was in Laos, there were bombs everywhere. When we left Laos, you were just in your mom's stomach. We had to cross the Mekong River with bombs and gunfire everywhere. We had to stay in the refugee camp. I'm like, whatever, Dad, But then when I explored a little bit more, I learned a little bit more, I dug in a little bit. I was like, oh my God, all this stuff is true. That explains all, maybe perhaps the mental health issues that our elders had, some of the difficulty that they've had explaining some of their journey, why they didn't share it with myself or some of the younger people, because there was a lot of trauma, a lot of unhealed, a lot of unaddressed trauma that they didn't confront, they didn't heal. And what I'm proud of your generation and the current generation now, and the newer generation, is that there is a focus on mental health. There is a focus on addressing past trauma and all these things that help shape us of the way we are, that we don't know why we behave a certain way, right? So I think that's the large reason why, it's just our history, and that explains a lot. So it starts from the secret war, and that's the reason why we're here. And we didn't get to learn all this stuff because it's not being told in schools.
Wow, thank you for that. When you learned this information, how did it change you?
Well, at first it was a heavy topic, so I was like, because I was already running my real estate brokerage, I was happy, I was doing everything. I was like, hey,
wow,
I'm doing good, I'm happy, I'm doing my thing, just like any other, any other American, Asian American, Lao American. And I was like, wow, I just couldn't believe it. I had to do my own research because it was just so heavy. I'm like, how can Laos be the most heavily bombed country in the world? No one knows about it. And so I'm like, I don't know about it. So in a sense, I felt like almost like it was a calling, or it was my duty, or to do my small part in sharing this information, not only so that history can reflect the sacrifices and the contributions of everyone from Laos, because the people from Laos did fight alongside the United States to help spread communism, right? So they helped that, a lot of sacrifice, like I said, from Lao ethnic tribes, the Khmer, the Hmong, the Mien, the Tai Dam, Tai Dang. So Laos is one of the most ethnically diverse countries in the world. And there were a lot of sacrifices. One, we wanted history to reflect that. And then two, we wanted our community to understand this origin story of why it helps shapes us so much. Why are people are so reserved? Why they don't want to get involved in certain social issues? Why are they so quiet? Why are they expressive? It's because this whole origin story and this past trauma that's been unaddressed. So it definitely changed me. It turned me into someone that I felt would be definitely giving me more purpose as far as community organizing, helping others. So yeah, it turned me into a whole new different person.